Today's guest on the Roost is a 22-year-old guitar player from Boston. He attended Berklee College of Music and moved to Nashville shortly after graduating and is an unbelievable guitar player, so I'm really glad he took the time to sit down with us in the studio. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Jake Baynes.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah. And I saw you just played a show with Paul McDonald.
Dude, I did, man.
That's pretty nuts. How was that?
Playing with Paul was so much fun, dude. You know, I started playing pitch meeting this year. I'm now the pitch meeting aux guitar player officially, which has been a blast. And the second week we had Paul. And Paul's actually the second week I ever lived in Nashville. He was one of the first shows I ever saw.
Oh,
so
sick.
it was a cool little first full circle moment for me.
Yeah. Yeah, man, y'all killing the pitch meeting thing. How'd you kind of get hooked up with that?
Dude, it was through, I love going out and meeting people. It's kind of like my favorite thing. And I feel like Nashville is really a spot for that. And I was at the Late Great sitting in with an artist named Wolf Jackson, and his drummer and bass player couldn't make it. And by just pure luck, it was Eric and Liam that were filling in for the gig. So I sat in with them.
Oh, wow.
And then I met them through that.
That's
and then I played a couple gigs with them. And then I sat in, did pitch meeting once last year. And then this year I've done it ever since, which has been a riot.
Yeah. Do you write it all?
I do a lot of co-writing.
Oh,
so
sick.
any of the artists that I play for, a lot of the artists I played for back in Mass when I used to live in Boston, we did a lot of co-writing stuff together.
Nice.
So
Nice. That's exciting.
kind of served the harmony a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a guitar player. I definitely want to co-write some more and get into that some more. I've written some songs, nothing special. Definitely not my like strong suit or nothing. But I mean, this is the town to do it. There's tons of people to work with, so that'd be exciting.
It is, dude.
What was Boston like? What was playing out there like?
Dude, well, Boston used to have a phenomenal music scene. I guess from what I've heard, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And there's the whole scene of North Shore musicians, which is what I grew up with, playing more up in New Hampshire. Because I grew up like northern Massachusetts before I went to Berklee. But once I got to Berklee, COVID happened, my second semester, and it kind of wiped out the rest of the small venues. So the music scene was really interesting. It was kind of completely inside of what we called the Berklee bubble.
Yeah.
Which is where it lived. But the scene itself was just super intense because you can imagine there's no venues left really. So no paid gigs in Boston.
Oh, wow.
So all of the value, or I guess being in college, was more of it was like competitive gigging inside of Berklee, which was, it had its ups and downs. Not my thing.
Yeah.
But it certainly puts the stress on being a good player, you know?
Yeah, and it seems like Berklee already kind of had like a strong online presence or community, just like trying to, you're talking about competing with gigs, but maybe also just like, you know, who's popping off on social media and stuff. And especially during COVID, that probably also went into that. Is that kind of when you got more heavy in content, or were you doing content before COVID? Or
Dude, so I started doing content in 2016.
Oh, wow.
My freshman year of high school. That was around the same time Pickup Jazz was like starting, and hashtag guitar had less than 1 million posts on it.
Wow.
And it was really cool. It's changed like so much, you know. I've always posted. For me, it was like, I always saw posting as like a fun thing. It was never really like much of a career thought up until I guess I got to Berklee. Then I was like, oh shit, like this is pretty useful, you know?
Yeah.
But I met and knew a lot of people through posting on Instagram and kind of being inside of that Instagram community, which had a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah. What was Berklee really like, man? And you said your second semester was COVID, so you're pretty young. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 23. I'll be 24 in July.
Sick,
But
dude.
that's crazy, man. I mean, COVID hit my third semester, second semester, whatever. And I was at LSU for a little while, and just totally changed the entire party scene, everything that we thought was going to happen. I moved back home to Lafayette, did the smaller thing, and Yeah, I mean, COVID definitely put a wrench in that. But what was Berklee kind of like as that happened?
So my perspective is very unique. I'm very lucky. I have to, before I say anything about it, I'm extremely grateful and lucky for where I live
Yeah.
before I went to Berklee
Mm.
and my situation, how I was impacted by COVID. Because for a lot of people that were at Berklee, COVID ruined a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They were abroad, they got screwed over by flying and
wow.
not being able to see their family. And so I really, really felt for those people. So
Yeah.
I have to make sure I say that
Yeah.
before I
Wow.
go, because my experience was not
You're right.
a negative one per
Sure.
se. I had
Yeah.
COVID positively in a way impacted me because of I only, that's why I said that in the
Yeah.
beginning, because of the fact that, thank goodness, and this is why I'm so lucky, my family house was 40 minutes away from Boston.
Yeah, right.
So if it weren't for that, I would have been in the same boat, but I'm very thankful, very grateful that I had that. And so after we got kicked out second semester, I moved into my apartment third semester. And got to say, there must have been like only 40 of us in Back Bay total when I first got there that were going to Berklee that I knew of, at least.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting because classes kind of were online and it was complete shambles. And so the school aspect of it didn't really exist, is what it felt
Yeah,
like.
right.
It was like a perfect environment to be in as a musician, because Back Bay, Boston was not busy. There was nothing going on in Back Bay at all. It was dead quiet, and there was just 40 of us, and we didn't really have much schoolwork, and any schoolwork we did have was really easy because nobody had really figured out how to put stuff online for Berklee in that context yet. And so the collaboration and the creativity was just incredible. I mean, it was just like everywhere we went was just like, let's play, let's figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I feel like I can sympathize with COVID being a positive, just getting to spend more time with family and kind of do that thing.
Family too, for sure.
And then, but then things kind of started to pick back up for Berklee, and y'all did end up having in person. And
yes.
What was kind of some of the more impactful lessons that maybe like brought your guitar playing to the next level?
So it's the pros and cons of what I like to call competitive music. So something I did while I was at Berklee was actually audition prep to help people get into Berklee as well. So the concept that like knowing and understanding really what I was doing at Berklee was something that was at the forefront of my mind the entire time I was there. Just trying to understand like, okay, what is going on around me and what's going to be different after I leave. And so competitive music is kind of the term I figured out when I was sat there thinking about it a lot at Berklee. And so the lessons that I learned through that were this, because everybody was a killer player, and gigs weren't paid. It was all about like, how nasty of a musician are you? Or like, it would be like the tiniest things could cost you your entire rep as a musician at Berklee, which was very stressful and not something that should ever be inside of a normal music community. But if you understand that while you're at music school, you can use it to learn. And so for me and a lot of the people I knew, it kind of was like, okay, this is a simulation, like that's kind of like, putting a donut in the baseball bat, as an example,
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's like, get your shit done, be on time, be as prepared as humanly possible. Like even in the situations where it's like, this should be seemingly impossible for me to get done. It's like, but if I succumb to that, somebody else is going to do it.
Yeah.
So the competitiveness really drove that kind of like mentality. And so moving here now, I'm thankful for that. Absolutely. Because, there's plenty of stressful situations that come up, but it's like, I've been there, I've done that. Like I've been in that like stressful mindset already to like, know I can definitely probably do this. Like, I'm going to do it. So
that's sick. So yeah, I mean, you're almost saying like really the culture of Berklee was more impactful than any one lesson or class that you took. Was just like the culture of just having to compete and not get left behind in the dirt. And It almost sounds like Boston is just like a hyper chamber of that competitive aspect that Nashville is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I moved here for that competitiveness to get me to become better and reach my potential and stuff like that. But yeah, I can imagine it's a little bit more cutthroat out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely more cutthroat. I much prefer being in Nashville.
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
real here,
Yeah.
Um,
So you moved to Nashville pretty quick after you graduated, and yeah, how long you been in Nashville?
dang, dude. I think since like August of last year
Nice.
is when I moved.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about the same time we got here. Yeah.
Sweet, man.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, people just keep on coming, man. It's like it feels a lot. I keep saying this to all my other podcasts, but I'm starting to feel more like a local because everyone I talk to is like, I just got off the car.
Yeah.
Like I just signed my lease today. I'm like, oh snap! Like
It's wild.
but that's awesome, man. So yeah, you start playing with the pitch meeting guys, and where else do you kind of play around town?
So last year when I got here, I spent most of my time being a hired gun.
Yeah.
And now the year's kind of kicking off. I'm deciding like where I want to go with that. But yeah, playing with the pitch guys has been a freaking blast. And
Yeah.
I do a lot of content stuff as well as a lot of teaching has been fun too. But I'm still trying to kind of figuring it out. I'm super fresh in Nashville. And for those of you guys who don't know about Nashville, there's the industry blackout that happens during the winter. So like after Thanksgiving, things kind of just go real quiet. And if you just moved here, it goes really quiet.
Yeah.
So in the last like month and a half, it's kind of like, okay, cool, we're back. Like what's the year gonna look like? What's my path this year? So it's been cool, man. It's a really exciting thing.
It is exciting. It feels like it's finally blossoming and starting to come out. And I mean that winter was tough. We basically just booked a bunch of gigs back home and just went home for the winter and just got back in like, late Feb, early March. And it's been good to be back. But that's cool, man. That pitch meeting, man, y'all are crushing, dude. And you crushed, I mean, personally, like,
thank you.
Yeah, it's sick to see, like, you got to play with Victor Wooten. You got to play with all these crazy people. Tell me more about this Victor Wooten show.
Oh my gosh.
I sadly had to miss it. I had a show that night.
I am so lucky to get to play with the pitch guys. It's a riot. Like the first thing with those guys and that really hit me hard, especially having come from like the intensity of Boston, is like they get shit done.
Yeah.
They are insanely nice people.
Mm-hmm.
It's that combination.
Yeah.
Which is just like it's a riot. Like every Tuesday. It's just like fuck yeah, dude. Like great shit's gonna happen today. And it's gonna be a fucking awesome hang.
Yeah.
And so that plus Victor Wooten last week was just like probably one of the best Tuesdays I've ever had. I was like, this is unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
And so, we the whole Victor thing was crazy because Victor teaches at Berklee sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And I had met Victor at Berklee. And so then I was like, man, I wonder when I'm going to see Victor Wooten again. I didn't realize, like, I'm so fortunate that it would be when I'd be playing with him again. That was so cool. But Victor's incredible, dude. Like, I'm sure every musician can attest to this. It's like, it's one thing when you play with new people. There's the small little voice in the back that's like, ooh, I wonder what this is going to be like. And it's like exciting, interesting, potentially a little stressful. And then there's the bigger voice in the back of your head where you play with somebody who's so important and so impactful to everybody that you're like, wow, like, what's this going to be like? Like, I got to be on my A game. I really like want to make sure that, I'm at my best when this is a moment that happens. And the moment Victor walked in the room, it was like a wave of calm washed over everybody. He's just the chillest person and the nicest guy.
Crazy.
And then the sickest musician, dude. Like, unbelievable. I think the moment that blew my mind the hardest was during Victor's solo set at the end. So basically at pitch, whenever you have a guest artist, the guest artist typically, depending on what ends up happening, does 3 songs with the band and a solo song at the end on their own. So Victor did a solo song at the end. And what I love about Victor is Victor doesn't know what he's gonna do until he does it. So Victor, we were like, "What are you gonna do for your solo song?" He goes, "Don't know." Walks up on stage, and there was this moment that was like, "This is what real music is." He detunes his entire bass.
Yeah.
He's got a looper going,
Yeah.
and he starts playing percussion on his bass, which I was like, "Wow, this is so cool." And then he stops playing, and he grabs his strings, and he just starts tuning the pegs again. And starts playing without touching a tuner or anything, nothing.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly in tune. And I think he tuned his bass by the string tension.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like that's like here, and then there's like Victor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I mean, just a total mastery of the whole instrument as like a whole, like every piece of it, every single part of it, and just playing the whole thing instead of we just kind of get caught in ruts and in lanes like, oh, we just play the same kind of notes, same kind of solos, we just play the strings the same way, but he plays the whole thing. He plays the back of it, the front of it, all of it.
He's a musician.
Yeah.
He's not just a bass player, I think.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that all of us can think about, because it's like, what do you want to be? Do you want to be your instrumentist, or do you want to be a musician?
Yeah.
And Victor doesn't need a bass.
Yeah.
Like the bass is it just so happens that Victor picked the bass, but he doesn't need the bass to be Victor Wooten, which is the cool part.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. That's crazy, man. This town is so crazy for stuff like that. I mean, just to be exposed to that kind of stuff, and we just kind of get to be sponges and absorb all these crazy people and their crazy energies just coming through. That's nuts, man. Whenever we met at Whiskey Jam, when Pitch invaded the Whiskey Jam, I saw you were wearing that Grateful Dead shirt. Speaking of energies and getting to soak some stuff up, how was that Grateful Dead show?
Dude, so this is going to be controversial. I love the Dead so much, but I never listen to them because, in my opinion, this is a personal opinion, the Dead is a live band.
Yeah.
And so I've been to see the Dead 7 or 8 times in person.
Whoa.
But I've never listened to them on Spotify. And it's because the first time I ever listened to the Dead was live. And then I tried to listen to their music after, and I was like, it's not as good as being there, because it's their vibe, their presence that is the sickest thing. And that show, I don't even remember which one it was that I got that shirt at. I'll have to look at the back of the shirt, but I know it was probably at Fenway. Fuck, man, incredible show.
Nuts.
Always a good time.
Nuts, man. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing about just like the culture and stuff, and like that community and the energy of experiencing it all there. It's never going to translate to Spotify and stuff like that. I've watched and listened to a bunch of Dead on YouTube, like their live shows and stuff, and every now and then I'll listen on Spotify. But yeah, I mean, just being there, just feeling and really, it kind of took me a lot of listens to really like digest the songs and even remember the songs. I saw them live in New Orleans. At Smoothie King Center, and I was like 15. This is before I even, really dug him or anything, but it was just like blown away by, just the madness of the people right outside outside the stadium or whatever, just kind of losing their minds, and had a whole little village of people that were just like, there for all the same reason and stuff like that.
It's community, dude, and it's like, music is not a solo thing. It never is. You know what I mean? And like, it's just the Dead is so good at that. Like, and I just think that's like the number one thing that makes every artist so successful is the community that they build through their music. Like, look at Taylor Swift. Yeah. Like, Taylor Swift is, she's a great songwriter and like very talented, but I think the thing that has made Taylor Swift so successful is like the concept of a Swiftie. Swifties, deadheads. Right? Yeah. It's like, oh, you're a Swiftie. Now we've got something in common, right? Versus it just being like, oh, you listen to this artist. That's cool, man. Yeah. Like, it's like there's a whole community behind the Dead. Yeah. And then like that's what makes me so stoked about Pitch, is because like Pitch is the point of Pitch Meeting is Pitch is a nonprofit. Yeah. Right. what we get out of pitch meeting, doing pitch meeting, is giving back and providing like a platform for musicians to come up and hear their song with a full band and all of the options available. And the point of pitch is like build a community. Like let's like see music, like music heard the way it should be. You know?
Yeah, I felt that whenever I first found out about pitch meeting, it was definitely like a rendezvous for people who just didn't have a community yet, and like I didn't have one yet, just moved here, find this thing, and it's like, oh, this is so refreshing from the Broadway or from the this or that. It's like, this is real crazy level of art, and everyone there is just there to appreciate it, and it's just great. And man, especially when it was at East Side Bowl, it was like dead silent. Yeah, and people just, you know, amazing at listening, and just, you know, the whole room was just, you know, captured. At Cannery Hall, it seems a little bit different of a vibe, for better or worse. I mean, I like that it's nice production, it's good stuff, but it does seem a little bit different of a vibe. Yeah, because I think it's just easier to talk, and like it's more of a bar feel, maybe, I guess.
At the Cannery?
Yeah, the Cannery just feels more like not like a dive bar, but like a lounge where people can have conversations. Yeah, and it's just, this is also happening. Yeah, but like, but regardless, I think it's just such a great format, and it's
cool, man.
It's hard to it's gonna be hard to contain. I think it's just gonna keep growing,
dude. Yeah, and like, you know, it's cool working with Eric, Liam, Mike, and the rest of the guys, because it's a big team, and you know, every week there's a meeting, and the purpose of the meeting is, what can we do better? Yeah. How can we? Oh wow. Well, how can we like serve musicians better? Yeah. Because it's fucking fun, dude. It's like, holy shit, and like it's sick because it's like, I did business at Berklee. Oh. That was my concentrate. 'Cause, I love music, but I also love like the inner workings of business. It's so fucking cool. Yeah. And you know, it's just like, to run, like, if you can pair music and business in a way where it benefits people properly, unlike most of the music industry right now, dude, anything is possible. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about starting this thing too. It's just like, there's kind of a lot of different ways to there are a lot of different ways to do the music thing, and you know, this kind of seems like my route out of tradition and out of like being stuck in a certain path or whatever. And because really there's no rules, no one's gonna tell me like how to do this thing or what I can do. I'm just like, yeah, you know what, on this episode I'll just have us whip out some guitars. I don't do that every episode, or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, why not, you know?
It's great, dude. You got a cool setup, dude. And
thank you, man.
And it's the podcasts are always sick. So
yeah, I'm excited for it. It's I mean, even just like even just this is like, it's a better opportunity than like, oh, you're tired after a show or something, and like you gotta go nag people and be like, hey, talk to me. Like, yeah, man. Like, I know you want to pack your gear and get the hell home. So yeah. Thank you for coming, man.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it too. You know, it's a cool time.
Yeah. What else you got going on today or wherever?
Well, so I'm building a pedal board, or I'm in the process of building a pedal board. So I'm stoked because I have never owned a pedal board ever.
Oh, wow.
Before, you know, like for ages, dude, it was always guitar, one overdrive and a tuner. Yeah. And then the amp. And I was like, this is it. This is like, this is all I need. And it was like, because it's just so much for me to think about with pedals and stuff. And then I started playing, like halfway through Berklee, I started, you know, I was playing a lot of, and I was just getting by with that setup, you know. And then I started playing for Charlie T, because we got the chance to play Faster Horses and Sound on Sound, those two music festivals, and her music has some sounds that she couldn't get. So I bought an HX Stomp.
Nice.
Because I was like, that's the cheapest option. Solid. 600, and it was like they had a deal on, because they just made it, and they had too many of the XLs, so I got it for like $600 something.
Nice.
And you know, it's been good, but now it's given up, and I was like, okay. So I went down to Dunlop, and I was like, today I'm gonna spend some cash. Yeah. And I picked out like, I think 11 pedals.
Whoa.
Dude, yeah. And so the 11-pound box of pedals is supposed to show up at my house at some point today.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, nice, dude. That's sick. Yeah, I mean, for a long time, my guitar mentor wouldn't even allow me to play with pedals.
That's what's up.
And I mean, that's definitely like, you know, that's so valuable for a guitar player to just like hear their note choice and hear really what's going on. But like, you know, I think I've always kind of been slow to learn about tone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think a long-term aspiration of mine is to like get in the studio and be a studio guy one day. But I want to dive way deeper into tone and figure it out way more intimately, because that's kind of the whole deal with studio work is like you got to really be able to get specific tones and know how to get them and all that. But I've been using this Helix for the past 5 years on the road just because it's so dependable. Like no tubes, nothing that can break. It's super, you know, dependable. It doesn't, you know, tickle that itch the same way that tubes do. You know, I love tubes, but yeah, I mean that HX stuff is sick. But how have you kind of like dove into that tone? Just a lot of bedroom stuff, or is there anyone you kind of look to learn about tone?
Yeah, man. For me, it's like the thing that's always hit me about players has always been like, I like feel. Like feel is everything. Because I grew up playing blues.
Yeah.
And I was really into like, you know, BB, but then also like Marvin Gaye and Donny Hathaway, and like the thing with blues and like R&B and soul music and stuff that strikes me is the like so many musicians like, oh, look at this crazy multi-note idea that's so complex and it's so cool, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. It's technically on paper a really cool idea.
Yeah.
But then for me, when I listen to music that doesn't have that, but it has so much like feel in it, it's all about the note, right? And it's like every idea you can possibly play, at the base of the idea is the note. And if you don't play the note right, is the idea even worth it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, cool. It's like building a house, I think about. You know what I mean? It's like, cool. Okay, you built the coolest looking house ever, but the beams and the steel and the structure of the house, which is the note, right?
Yeah.
How you play the note, how it sounds, isn't sturdy. The house falls over. The idea is, it is okay, you know? And so like I've studied with a lot of I've had the chance to study with a lot of really cool people, and it's been like, it's always been play this 3-note idea again until it's perfect. I had a lesson with you ever heard of Guy King? One of my favorite guitar players.
Wow.
He's incredible. He lives out in LA, blues guy, plays with his thumb on like this beautiful 335, and his feel is unbelievable. And he does a lot of like Ray Charles stuff, and I'm a huge Ray Charles fan. And I had a lesson with him. It was supposed to be an hour long, and it wound up being like 2 hours. And for 2 hours with one idea, we sat there, and he was like, play it again.
Yeah.
Play it again.
Yeah.
Play it again. And I was like, what does he want me to do? And then finally he was like, you get it. And that's because after a while of playing the same 3-note idea, you get to a point where you're like really paying attention to each individual note. And part of that's going to be tone.
Yeah, right.
Right? And that's where that's where it makes sense, where it's like tone comes from the fingers and the brain, because it's like, if I aggressively pick the note, it's going to be shrill, you know, and maybe I want that, maybe I don't, but you should, as a musician, be in control of that.
Yeah.
Right. And then your tone or your effects and your amp after that is what like is kind of responding to your initial response to the guitar, I guess. That's the way I think of it, at least.
Yeah, there's like 100 ways that you can attack a note. And like, you know, if you're slightly bending it, slightly out of tune, or just kind of like bending into it, down into it, like, you know, the finesse on the fingerboard is so overlooked by people who are just starting to learn guitar. It's like, you know, it's so much more than just playing the right notes. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, the touch, it is crazy.
What's your intent?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
all about intention.
Yeah. Yeah, is this a happy note? Is it an angry note?
Dude, yeah. Another person I got the opportunity to learn from was Josh Smith.
Wow.
And
I actually got to spend some time with Josh Smith.
Unbelievable musician.
One of the best guitar players I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I had just filmed this video with a drummer named Aaron Fig and a really close buddy of mine who I now live with, actually, Jacob Schneiderman. And we did this video. We covered Josh Smith tune. I think it was like Pusher or something. And then I had the lesson with Josh, and I sent it to him, and I was like, what do you think? Because I had all these cool ideas that I worked out that were like in the Josh realm with me involved. And Josh was like, on paper, it's a really cool video. He's like, but you have no intention. And he's like, if you had intention with all of your ideas, like, you'd have it. And I was like, fuck.
Damn.
And then I had the lesson with Guy after that, and it was like the same thing, but not. And I was like, okay, dude, I get it now. Wow. It's like you have to like own the living daylights out of every note you play, and it's all about the single note. Because it's like if you don't give a fuck about one note, then it's like, what are you gonna do with the rest?
Oh, and that's such a blues thing,
too,
because like, I mean, blues is always overlooked as it's so easy, but are you making it cry?
That's it,
it's
dude.
Like, are you like, you know, emotionally conveying the pain that you're trying to, or is it just the notes? And it's like, man, that is a tough lesson to learn. Yeah. So where did you get to spend some time with Josh? You went to LA.
He was
for a
just
little while,
offering lessons.
Oh, it was online.
I just hit him up.
Sick.
Same with Guy. I was like, oh, I gotta hit this guy up for some lessons because I love them both so much, listening to him, and so I hit him up. And I got some lessons. It was cool, man.
Dude, I've got a crazy Josh Smith story.
I would love to hear it.
Honestly, I can't even believe it's real sometimes when I think about this week. But I was interning at a studio down in Louisiana, and Joe Bonamassa and Josh Smith were on this production team. They were producing Mike Zito's record and Albert Castillo's record, and they came in for 8 days and literally just talked baseball and guitar for 8 days, and I just got to watch them work, and they're freaking masters, dude.
Yes.
I picked up some coffee, placed it on the table, and just was a fly on the wall. And Josh would freaking, he'd have they had like this 12-minute like Allman Brothers arrangement, some big arrangement, and Josh went in, did the acoustic track, like, the scratch record, and just nails it in one take. It's just like, you can just, you just perfectly, with timing, with feel, intention, just lay this 12-minute piece down. I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It was nuts. It was absolutely one of the best weeks of my life.
He's wild.
It's not often. I mean, Nashville's a different story, but back home when I was living in Louisiana, it was not often that there was like, I was the 5th best guitar player in the room. Like, there was like just so much freaking crazy talent just around me. I was like, holy crap. I mean, now Nashville's a completely different story. Now it's
man.
But back home, it was like first time I was just completely blown away by the number of cats I was around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, they're wild. They're all so good, but they're all immersed.
Yeah.
Like as deep as you can possibly get with music.
Yeah.
And they listen to way more genres of music than you could possibly imagine. Like Josh is obsessed, like Charlie Parker, like from just the lessons, at least from what he was telling me about, it was like, yeah, dude, Charlie Parker has all the secrets.
Yeah.
And he was like, learn Bloom Dita. And I was like, I did. And I was like, okay, dude, gotta get that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the source code.
Yeah. It's the scripture.
That's sick, man. So Charlie Parker, who else are some hidden source code guys?
Robin Ford. Robin, dude. Robin, I owe so much to Robin Ford because basically for me, I started playing guitar. I was like, this is so cool, man. And then I like didn't know, I'd never listened to blues before. I was like super into metal. And then I became disinterested in guitar, and my dad made me go to these open mic nights, and then I like went, and I just like found blues, and I was like, this is the coolest, like this is awesome. And the first blues tune I ever played was Hard Times, and I had no idea what was going on. I went to this open mic night, and the lady that ran it is a phenomenal musician named Lisa Geyer, and the guy on keys was a guy named Gardner Berry, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna play Hard Times," and I was like, "I don't know what that is," and then they're like, "It's in D," and I just like soloed over the whole thing, and it was atrocious, but I found blues, and I was so into it, and then like literally the same week, I went on Pandora because I had a Pandora account.
Yeah.
And I found found Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then I found Robin Ford.
Wow.
And I was like, Robin is so cool.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with both of them. Fast forwards a year later, or maybe 2 or something like that. And I reached out, and basically reached out. I found out Robin was coming to town, and I just went crazy, and I filmed all these videos of me playing over Robin tunes, and they hit me up.
No way.
And they were like, "Hey, like we're gonna show Robin these videos, and don't like get your hopes up or anything. We're just gonna send them over." Because I was like, I hope Robin sees these videos. I'm really hope so. And the day of the show, I cannot believe this happened. I got a phone call from this number I'd never seen before, and I picked up, and it's his tour manager.
Wow.
And she's like, "Yeah, like Robin would like love to meet you. You know, you should go down to
crap.
the this place in Mass, and he's there." And I like literally at 15 like peed myself and was like, "This is unbelievable." And I went, and it was like that will still be the coolest day of my life. I walked in, and Robin came around the stage, and I'm like, "Here's my hero, and here's my guitar teacher's hero, and here's like everyone's hero. It's like Robin Ford." And he's like, "Hey, Jake," and I was like, "That's it, I'm done."
Whoa!
But Robin, I've stayed in touch with Robin, and he has given me some of the most incredible musical insight ever.
Yeah,
and like I did music business because Robin recommended me to do business at Berklee. Because he's like, "You'll learn to play wherever you are if you're surrounded by musicians. And you'll learn music anyways at Berklee because you have to do all the Berklee classes anyways." He's like, "You may as well do business." So I did the business thing. Robin was the first person that told me to like listen to a lot of Charlie Parker. Man, and he's just like, his thing is like, take your time and talk and listen, because he used to tour Miles, and that was like the Miles Davis thing.
Wow.
And it was so cool, man. And it was that night, it was him, Leroy Parnell, and Joe Robinson. It was the Guitar Army, and I got to play with them, and it was like the coolest night of my life. And I got to sit downstairs and listen to them talk about like them hanging out with Steve Ray Vaughan and like all this cool shit that just stuck with me forever. Yeah. And yeah, man, like I owe so much to Robin because it's just been like, I used to like, I'd be on the phone with Robin, and afterwards I'd be like, "I have to play, dude. Like, this is it. Like, this makes sense. Like, yeah. It's Robin Ford. Like," and I just, it's there, man.
That's
like,
incredible, man.
It was the coolest thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm unbelievably grateful for that.
Holy cow.
It was a cool time, dude.
Yeah, holy shit. That is so nuts. I mean, just the willingness to share that kind of knowledge with you is just, I mean, that takes some crazy humility and some crazy open-mindedness to just share so willingly.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy.
It's awesome.
I was very, very lucky.
It's awesome.
I don't think Robin does that for everybody. So I was like, thank goodness,
Yeah, I mean, that's sick, but you showed some dedication to him, and like, honestly, like I need to I need to dedicate more to learning the source code and going back and really like diving into to all these people who laid it down before me. And like I've definitely, back in Louisiana, I always respected elders and always was learning from mentors of just who was around and who was available to me. But there's so many people who've already passed and gone, and like, definitely gotta do some more homework for sure.
It's all about where it came from, and that's like, because I do a lot of teaching. I really enjoy teaching on
Yeah.
the side. It's like, I think teaching, it was my number one way to pay the bills while I was living in Boston. And I was going to stop when I got here, and I was like, I can't, dude. I freaking love this because it's so gratifying to see somebody have musical breakthroughs. It's just the coolest shit.
Yeah.
But I'm racked up over 3,500 hours of teaching since whenever I started. I don't even know when, but that's the biggest thing, dude. Like, because when you teach it, you have to ask yourself why. And if you don't ask why, your students will. So you got to beat them to it.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And, you know, my students are like, well, why did they do that? What is that? Where did that come from? And you have to sit there and go, why? And the answer is always, where did they come from?
Yeah.
And where did the person that got that come from?
Yeah.
Right? It's literally like, the most common one is always like, people now that mimic John Mayer.
Yeah.
You go, well, where did they come from? Oh, John Mayer, that's cool. But a lot of people stop there. But the thing is where did John come from?
Yeah,
Stevie.
Yeah.
Where did Stevie come from?
Yeah.
Albert King, Albert Collins.
Yeah.
All these phenomenal black blues musicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is where you should be looking.
Yeah.
Not, you know, these guys have got stuff on top. That's cool. But like, that is where the real answers are.
Yeah.
That's where it's authentic.
Yeah.
That's where they're playing with the intention.
Right.
You can learn and study from and appreciate the music for what it actually is.
Yeah.
And so it's all about figuring out the scripture behind what
Yeah.
you're really listening to, you know?
Yeah. I think if there's anything that I appreciate about Louisiana, it was never Louisiana didn't have the best education. Most of the musicians in Louisiana don't know theory. They can't read music. But like, I got to play with some unbelievable, like, authentic black blues legends. Lil Buck Senegal was a guy who kind of got me started playing professionally in Louisiana. And just Louisiana can't really be separated from black culture. And
No.
it's just like,
And no one should ever try to.
no,
Yeah.
it's no one does, and it's just like, it's so integrated, and it's so strange to me. Like, some people really like look at the South as being racist or whatever, but honestly, like, I feel like we had one of the most integrated, like, upbringings possible. Just like we really, our culture is so intertwined with black culture, and it's just like, it's rich, and I love Louisiana. I miss it so much for that, because it's like, there's just the food and the music. I love New Orleans. I really wanted to live there, but it's gotten really dangerous, and that's ultimately why I decided to move to Nashville. And also, Nashville's got way more industry and is way more of a music hub. But man, I really love the culture of Louisiana so much.
It's cool, man. It's all about community, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's about people, and people, you know.
Yeah.
That's like the music thing, I guess. But yeah, dude.
I would definitely suggest visiting if you'd ever been to New Orleans or.
Dude, I haven't, and I've had the opportunity to go, and something always ends up happening, and I'm just like, dude, I gotta get there. Like, someday, soon, this year, I will be going to NOLA.
Yeah.
I gotta get down there.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's cool, man. I grew up kind of cutting my teeth in this thing called Zydeco, which is like a traditional, kind of relative to blues. It's got like blues origins, and it's frontman with an accordion, washboard.
I've seen that, dude.
And,
That stuff's cool.
And so that was kind of like the main gig in Louisiana. So I was playing for like a couple of different Zydeco groups and all that.
Cool,
and,
man.
That's just old black men just, sharing their experience and stuff. And it was great, man. I was playing in these, in these groups where we were like 6 guys hitting the road. A lot of touring out of Louisiana, which is another thing I appreciate about Nashville, is being able to make money and staying in town.
Yeah, dude. The whole concept of weekend warrior.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I like that a lot. Man, but just traveling for gigs is so cool. Like, because it's just like,
Yeah.
It's so cool if you're with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
That's the important part.
It
if
is.
If you're with assholes, forget about it. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
You know, but
Oh,
with good people on the road, it's just fun.
yeah.
And you're playing music and everybody's creating. And man, that was, you know what? That actually is the coolest thing about the gig I played 2 days ago with Paul.
Yeah.
Because we're in the van on the way back. And Paul was saying, because he's so creative, and he was saying, man, he's like, I'm so excited to be going on the road for the next 2 years, and it's because he's like, I'm just gonna hang and meet a bunch of really cool people, and I'm gonna create, dude. And he's like, you're on the road with the right people, you just get stuck in a flow state.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been on the road with other people, and it's been real cool. But Paul was the first person I've heard say that about like road life, and I was like, that's sick. Like, that's what it should be like.
Yeah.
Like, because why are you a musician otherwise? You know,
Yeah.
that's what's up. And so it's cool, man.
Yeah, man. Getting paid to travel is it's nice when it's nice, man. And
When
but
it's
yeah,
nice.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. It's like the group and the chemistry is everything, man. It's honestly, I don't know how much you've toured with a group that has not gelled, but like it is, you know, it hurts your soul. I felt so numb inside. I felt like, I mean, honestly, the lowest points of my life have been on the road with people I didn't get along with. And that's tough. And it's a testament to like this being a friendship based town, and like really like you have to, I mean, you only play on stage 2 hours or whatever, and the rest of the time is with, you know, everyone else.
Is with hanging, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and musicians' mental health, like that's a big thing. Like you have to be. It's not easy, so you have to be very cautious of like, okay, well, who am I gonna surround myself with that make me like feel good? And on the flip side, how can I make everybody else happy too? You know, and not be an asshole.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. Like,
yeah. You got to absorb a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And just kind of not redirect any of that to anyone else.
And figure out how to healthily deal with it.
Yeah.
Not do the. That's what I'm stoked about so far being in Nashville. At least the people I've been around. It seems like the old Nashville problem that I've heard of. I mean, again, I've only been here since August, but of people like going crazy, drinking drugs and alcohol and stuff, which there was so much of in Boston.
Oh, wow.
You know, I've been out on the road with a few people where that's definitely real.
Oh, yeah.
But it seems like, you know, at least the pocket of people that I've found don't do that, dude.
Yeah, that's
they
great.
Hike, spend time, touch grass, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and chill out that way. It's like amazing, dude. Staying healthy, like it's amazing what that does when you stay healthy and you can absorb stress, and then it just dissipates. You can find healthy ways to let it dissipate.
Yeah, I gotta stay grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's
Tell me about this Les Paul here.
Oh,
Let's see. What's the deal with your Les Paul?
Oh man, I love this thing. I got this thing in 2015.
Yeah.
It's I feel like I can get just 100 sounds out of it. It's
Has it got the push pulls in
got
there?
push pulls in there. It's got the drive. It's yeah, we can start jamming too in a little bit. But yeah, man, it's honestly I got this thing back before I really knew how to use it. You know, I kind of grew into it, and just realized, you know, it's way nicer of guitar than I thought. You know, Les Paul just like, oh, I want to be Slash. Like I want to look like I have a Les Paul, but I didn't really know like this thing is unbelievable. It's an unbelievable workhorse. It's the best sounding guitar I've got. I've got some pretty nice guitars too, though. I mean, that do other things, but this is you know, it's. I feel like I really don't need to switch out guitars if I'm in a bind. I can just get so many different sounds out of it. Split coil, I can put it in the middle, I can boost it, I can, you know, make it warm, make it thin, make it all these different things that I want. So it's great. Only thing is it's a little heavy. So I am looking at trying to get an SG one day.
They're cool, dude.
Yeah.
I've got what I brought today is the Les Paul SG Telecaster conversion.
Mm.
I think you've seen that. I don't play that at pitch.
I might recognize it when you pull it out.
Yeah, I'll take this thing out.
Yeah, let's start.
So this, let me get these headphones back on. This thing is so I started working with Warmouth and Lindy Fralin 2 years ago. Holy shit, yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Basically, I build all my guitars.
Snap.
I don't really. The only guitar I didn't build is I have an SVL, which is like that company. If you want a custom Strat, that is Simon is the only guy that works for SVL. He builds for Robin Ford, Matt Schofield, and he guitar techs for Pete Townsend. So he is about as legit as it gets, and he lives in England, and he makes the best Strat copies ever. I know I'm saying this while I'm holding this, but like I own one. I'm very lucky to own one, and it's incredible. Like, you know, it's going to be a good guitar when you call him up and you explain exactly what you want, and he goes through and he listens to all the examples of you playing, and then 6 months later, because he hand carves the guitar out of a block of wood, you get sent this perfect guitar, and it's like even details that I didn't think of. He was like, I think he might need this. I gave him some creative room. I'll send you a picture of it. We could throw it up on the podcast video.
Yeah, absolutely.
SVL is a great dude, but that's the only guitar I really own that is actually a branded guitar. And I kind of came into this situation where the first guitar I ever built with my dad is this mahogany Telecaster, because I love the combination of mahogany body and maple necks.
Yeah.
That has a mini humbucker in the bridge. And I got that because I wanted an SG really bad, and I was really young. So my dad was like, how about we build one together? Since I built. And I really wanted a guitar with 2 humbuckers in it. And I was like, I want a Les Paul, but I also want an SG because I love Derek trucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then I love Telecasters. But I hate the fact that Telecasters don't have a cutaway on them.
Oh, yeah.
And so literally I started talking with the Warmouth guys because I have bought some Warmouth stuff before. And I came up with this concept, which is literally it's a mahogany body with a roasted flame maple neck, but the neck profile is the Gibson profile. The fretboard radius is Warmouth's 10 to 16, which is really similar to the Gibson one, but it's a little bit flatter, and I love it. So pretty dang Gibson like, but then it's a telly shape. It's a carved top, which is very much so similar to like a Les Paul. It's got a two-pneumatic bridge, Gibson, strings through body, Fender. Right? Nice. So it's like, oh man, bound Gibson, right?
Yeah. Oh wow.
59 wiring with PAFs. It's Les Paul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's got the cutaway here and here, so that's like kind of SG like.
Yeah, man, that shape is beautiful.
This thing is incredible, and it just sounds ridiculous. So I built this, and this has been my guitar for ages. But I don't play this at pitch meeting too often because we got Mike on the humbuckers. Yeah. So I've been going more on the true Telecaster route, which is also a Warmouth with Lindy Fralins. These are the pure PAFs. I've got the pure blues in my other Telecaster, and that one's got a 5A grade roasted flame maple neck from Warmouth, which is it's the craziest neck I've ever seen. Yeah. But yeah, that's this thing, dude. I love this guitar.
Dude, it's sick. I can't wait to. I mean, I think I have heard it at pitch meeting, but yeah, man. Let's rip, bro.
Cool, dude. The splits.
Sick, man. Thank you so much for coming, bro. That was sick.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
My God, dude. That's awesome.
It sounds like Les Paul, Les Paul, SG type vibes, you know?